Hi, welcome to the UX training. Now, today we are going to discuss and know about first the concept of UX, what is UX design, and what are the key differences between UX design and UI design. So, let's first understand what is UX. So, UX simply is anything you see in the world, which is a product which is made by human, is designed by someone, and you are using it. That's the user experience. For an example, if you're using a television and you're using the remote to change the channel, that is an experience, that is a user experience, and that gives you, that makes things easier for you to change the channel, go to a different channel, go to a different channel again, and that's your experience for it. So UX can be variety in number of products, but in this course we are going to learn UX design for digital products, which could be mobile application, for an example WhatsApp, Facebook, or Telegram, any application you could choose. You could design that application, mobile application or a web application. Facebook has both mobile application and web application both, so you could imagine that as well. So we are going to design a digital product, and this could help you understand the whole concept of UX design. So UX is not just design. UX is more of concept, functions, and design. Without understanding UX, it is very hard to design something, very hard to get into any software and start working as a designer. In UX, you would have to research, you would have to create user flows, you'd have to create a solution, and then you'll have to create. First, you'll have to create a problem statement, then you'll have to come up with solutions which could help you bring in the best solutions for it. Now, let's go deep into it. So, problem statement and solution statement, what are those? So problem statement in any digital product you are using, let's say we can go in two different directions. We can think about the product, mobile application or a web application which is already developed, and then we can go and do a deep research on it, and we can analyze, and we can do a survey that what are the problems users are facing to use this application, how much time it is taking for the user to navigate between each feature. So let's say I'm using an application to buy something, how much time it took for a user to buy a product and get it shipped to his home. That's a complete user experience. And what happened to other application, how much time they're taking. So for an example, if you could take it of Big Basket, sometimes it can deliver within 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and you can have an option to get to things delivered in 3 to 4 hours. And if you say Amazon used to deliver very fast, but Amazon, you need to wait for a day, you need to wait for 2 days or 3 days. So that's the experience change, complete experience change. So that's a problem. You need to identify what are the problems users are facing, and let's say the solution statement. So once you identify all the problems which is within the application, if it's an application, it's an old application, you would come up with a solution. What is the solution you came up with doing your research, and what do you think which can help the user, not by just assuming, but by doing a research and coming up with a solution which can help the application get more users and help the user uh, navigate to each of the features faster within the application. So that is why you need to first do these two most important things, is come up with a problem statement and then come up with a solution statement which is going to help you in a long term. Now we are going to deep dive into the next part, which is understanding user flow and wireframe, which are the most important part of UX design. So, what is user flow? What do you think of user flow? So, I'll break it down. Let's say I'm a user. I downloaded a big basket or any e-commerce application. What are the things I would have to do in order to buy something and get it shipped to my account? I would have to first create an account, then I would have to sign in, I have to register, I have to put in my bank information. After all of those are done, I would have to go into search, I would have to search something, then I would have to click on buy this item, add this item to my cart, add this item to my cart. Then I have to go to the cart, and then in the cart section, I would have to uh, say buy all of it, and then I would have to register my address. Once the address is registered, I have to choose the address, which address I would want to deliver it to, and then I would have to add some money in the wallet in order to place an order. Once the order is placed, it it would move to the orders, and it would also move to tracking. Then I would go on the tracking page, then I would see how much time it is going to take for the product to be delivered to me. Is it going to take 9 minutes? Is it going to take 2 to 3 hours? And then my experience is complete when the products are delivered, the amount is paid, then I can close the app and everything is done. That's how you have to define each step as a journey for the user, from creating the account to login to going to his search page or the main page wherein he searches the product and he buys the product, he adds all those addresses, so all those functionalities you have to create it in the flow. So it will be easy not just for you, also for the client to understand, also for the programmers to understand that what is going to be the user's behavior when they enter into the application. Now, once your user flow is done, then you would get into wireframing. So wireframings can be done with low fidelity, which is similar to design, and you can also do the wireframe by sketching on a paper, whiteboard paper. That's very classic. I like that. And you can also do it on PicJam, which is more like a sketch. This I have done it on PicJam. So how does wireframe help you define a design? So wireframe is basically something which can give you the initial idea of the layout, the experience user is going to have for the entire application. So every page you design, if you come up with the wireframe first, it will save you a lot of time to get to the design. Because to design, you'll have to design system design, you'll have to design all the components, and then you'll have to go to design. But in wireframe, you won't have to do all of that. You can just sketch the wireframe. It will take 10 to 15 minutes. Obviously, the research part will take a lot of time for you. You'd have to walk, you'd have to think about the specific layout, and then you will create the wireframe. So I'll tell you the benefit of creating a wireframe is uh, creating a sketch wireframe or on a Miro board or a PicJam board or on a paper takes 15 to 20 minutes with hand. Thinking process takes a lot of time, but creating a low fidelity design takes more than a day or two. So I always prefer to creating wireframes like a sketch, which can give me a generic idea of how my layouts are going to be. And clients, clients, your managers, they understand that they want to save time. Saving time means saving cost. When they save time, they save cost. And if they can get a generic idea of how the layout is going to be placed, they'll give you an approval and you can go to the next stage, which is your more research. So once your initial idea of user flow and wireframe is done. Uh, you could do more. You could do your user research, wherein you could go to places where you can talk to people, and you can talk to them in terms of similar applications they have been using, and what they like about it and what they don't like about it. If the company already has an application, you can ask the users to to give feedback on that specific application, that what they like about it and what they don't like about it. You can do those user interviews, and you can put it in your research. And in user research, you can also define your audience. So let's say for an example, I would use Yamaha bike. Yamaha bike can, let's say, a racing bike, which can be generally used by a age group of I would say 18 to 45, and this would be male dominant, and it can uh, female dominancy, I would say around 25%, and the male dominancy about 75%. So you users are basically defined. Ramesh Yadav, who is 25-year-old, he goes to a job. He also likes to go to bike rides. He has a Yamaha FZ bike. He also has a KTM. So you could think of that user from the age perspective and what he likes, what he doesn't like, what is his gender, and then you can create that definition of user persona, which will help you design the experience better. Okay, so what is competitive analysis? Competitive analysis is part of user research, but it helps you identify between two similar applications, whether it is your application which is you are working on, or if there are already applications they exist of the similar business, and you can think about how they are different in terms of experience. So let's talk about these two applications. One on the left side is Yamaha application, one on the right side is Royal Enfield application, and the feature we're talking about is map, where we have parked. So if you see, Yamaha has a very nice, plain background with the complete map and one map where the bike is parked, and uh, Royal Enfield has a complete list of where my bike was parked. So Yamaha looks very simpler, but it is very complex. Why? Because I'm not able to see all the list of details where the bike was originally parked. I'm just seeing some one location. But in terms of Royal Enfield, there are, I think, you would be able to click on that specific list, and you would be able to go to that specific map. So first it gives you the list of parkings you have done, and then you can go to that specific location and check if the bike was parked at the right place. And this helps the user identify, also keep a track of his bike, and it helps him that if he wants to park at the same place again, it helps him also navigate to that place, because parking is one of the biggest problem in all the metro cities. Now let's go to the next, which is what is UI design. So we understood UX. UX is more about research, creating functionalities, understanding functionalities, doing competitive analysis, and also creating user flows and wireflow. What is UI design? After you have done all of that, user research and UX research, now the next thing you have to do is you have to start designing, and designing the interface. So how do you design it? There are processes to design it. First, you have to design the components, reusable component, because you would not want to design uh, a similar component each time you go on to a different page. So my philosophy is to design this system design components first, and then go on to the UI design. Within the UI design, go on to the main mockup, go on to the detailed pages. So within system design, first I would like to define color concept, then I define typography. In color concept, I define both the variations, bright and dark, and with branding color. Typography, I define on title, what are going to be the font sizes of button, body text, and everything. There are some generic font sizes which are already available, but I like to define each time for a different application. So for that application, my mind is already set that what I'm going to use. Now, after you have done the typography, you need visual elements like photographs, icons. People generally, designers generally use material design icons, and you can also design your custom design icons, and then you can bring those assets into your Figma file, and then you can start bringing them as a component, and then you have to define the properties of all your components. So what are properties? Properties are like shadows and shadows, corner radius. Everything can be defined in the variable, and then that definitely variables, then you can use those variables in each of the system design components to make sure that your design looks consistent. All right. So you can see cards, you can see pop-ups, you can see iconizations, you can see left tab here. Now, after you're done with system design, you're not completely always done with system design. System design is like a parallel friend you have while you're designing the whole application. Each time you go to a new page, you find something unique which you'd have to design as a component, because that could be reused again in different pages. So next part is creating interaction and animation. So in this specific, you'd see, I'm hovering over something and it is getting highlighted. I could scroll and I could change the layout of marking and mark out, and I could create a pop-up. So the whole interaction part comes into UI design, user interface design, wherein you'd be able to create these animations and these interactions, and that can help you uh, basically uh, define how the user is going to move to a different page, from one page to different page. And when you're handing off these files to developers would also be able to see how this is animating, how the interactions are happening, and they could do the exactly same kind of interaction. They could just copy the code from Figma and they could do the same interaction. Now, let's go to the next. So, as I explained, UX is more of a research and UI is more of a visual and interface design. But there is a higher concept here, wherein I would say in the entire project cycle, UX is the larger picture and UI is part of it, and visual design is the smaller part of it. Wherein to design a UX of a project, you need to research first, then you need to come to UI, and then you need to come to visual design, and all of them combined together becomes one UX project. Now, let's see some key takeaways from our whole understanding of what is UX and what are the key differences between UI and UX. So, UI is user interface, UX is user experience, and UI is more towards look and feel, and UX is more towards function and flow. UI is more of visual elements, UX is user journey, UI is typography, colors, buttons, UX is wireframe, prototyping, UI is layout and style, UX is research and testing. So even after you have done the UI, that means your UX is not completed yet. After you have done the UI, then again you would go and do the user testing. User testing is an important part of UX design, wherein you understand if something went wrong and if something you need to change to make it work better, to make it more simpler for the user. So that is why I would say UX is, let's go back. UX is the entire cycle. UI is a smaller circle within, and visual design is the smaller circle within UI design. So all of these combined become UX, and then you complete the whole UX object. So this is about UX and UI and the whole concept of UX. And now, in the next chapter, we are going to discuss uh, what is product design and what is the modern product design process and how UX can help you design a product better.